I'm really interested because I know the story, but I want you to tell our viewers how this project came across your desk and how it morphed into what it became that we have seen right now.
I'll kick us off, and so we actually we have had the privilege of screening short documentaries at the Sugar Documentary Film Festival in the years past, and probably about 7 years ago, we screened a film, and that then Marianne and the festival played it at different places, including a Rotary meeting, just trying to getting films and filmmakers out in the community. And through that, we met Ken Fogel and Dr. Jeff Kempf, and I ended up having dinner with them and got to see the amazing work that they were doing through Rotary and through that collective effort. And it was very clear right from the beginning for me that there was a posture. There was a difference in how they were relating with the people they were trying to help, where it wasn't about doing a good deed, it was about enabling and empowering them to be themselves, and raising up and growing in the process. Everybody grows in the process, and it was just something that we wanted to get be a part of. So we jumped on board, and we were like, hey, let's make a promo video. Let's do something. Let's help you guys out. And I know Jake and I, we kind of jumped into it, and as we went into it, we were just very open-handed, and as we went down to Haiti to kind of just make kind of a pile of footage to sort of work with. You can tell kind of this part of the story, but there was a moment where there was something very different happening in front of us.
Yeah, so basically we were down there for about a week and a half, and essentially at the end of every shooting day, Travis and I would go back to our living quarters, and we would compare, well, what did you shoot? What did I shoot? What kind of stories did you capture? What did I capture? What kind of threads, what do we know of is happening tomorrow that we might want to follow, and things like that. And we saw, as Travis was talking about, we saw these storylines and these characters and this drama start to present itself, and these ideas start to present itself, and we started to see really the largeness of the drama that was playing out in front of us. And it's like for us as documentary storytellers, our whole job is to look at what's happening in front of us, and how do I package what is happening in front of me to be able to tell that story to somebody else. And like Travis was saying, the farther we went along in shooting for the little 4 or 5 minute promo video, the more and more we realized just how big of a story there was. And I can't remember exactly the moment that you're referring to, but I know there were a couple of moments during those conversations where we're like, I think there's something a lot bigger here. I think there's a much bigger, more powerful story that we can tell.
So Travis, Open Hearts, it's a movie takes place in Haiti. It's about taking care of children with heart defects.
So absolutely. Jeff, it's a film that you basically get a week in the life of a medical mission, as a international group of doctors have come together to fix 12 children's hearts with open heart surgery, a few closed heart surgeries as well, in the course of 6 days. And so they're doing 2 surgeries a day. But through the film, you get to see what is a long-term, through that week, that lens, that window, you get to see what has been a very long relationship and a long journey, a long effort of St. Damien Hospital working with Gift of Life and the collaborative of doctors and collaborators from around the world through Gift of Life and through Rotary. And so really the film is about how we connect with each other. We're all in this together. And when we can align in that way, amazing things can happen. So it is a medical, there's a medical bent to it, but it really has to do with that sort of tangible efforts of getting through that week. But that week is only made possible through a long effort. Many alliances.
Jacob, tell us, because you did such a good job of bringing to light the differences in what the environment there is to what we consider norm. Kind of elaborate on what you saw there and how that manifests itself in a medical environment and for you, a filming environment as well.
Yeah, so I think for us as Americans, like we have a certain kind of preconceived notion of what life in a third world country is like, and what specifically like life in Haiti is like, and who these people are, and you think of Haiti and it's, there's poverty and there's people in pain and all this different stuff, and it's like that stuff does exist. And we were, confronted with that in different ways when we went down there. But what I really took away from the whole experience was that that's not the impression I came away from Haiti. That's not the impression I left Haiti with. We really got to see how much life and joy and pride and determination and just raw happiness is infused in the people and in the culture down there, and that was really eye-opening in a lot of ways, obviously. And then, like from a filmmaking perspective, the kind of work that Travis and I had done in the years preceding when we shot Open Hearts was very much based on being a fly on the wall and being a small kit and 1 or 2 person filmmaking team. Getting into a situation or a location, and like I said earlier, like looking at what's happening in front of us and figuring out what's the best way that I can tell the story of what's in front of me. So kind of being down there from a filmmaking perspective, attacking a story in that way really served us well, because there was a lot of time that we didn't have enough light to shoot what we needed to shoot. We didn't have the big equipment that we could have used. We kind of had to make do with what we had, which in a lot of ways is what some of the teams that are down there have to do on their own. So it was an eye-opening experience, and it was a way to, not that it was a way to practice our craft, but it allowed us to really grow in the way that we capture and tell a story.
You'll probably never look at a story the same way again, I would think, just from discussions I've heard.
That's it's a big comment, because it's our world. So it's the thing about it is storytelling has been a lifelong pursuit, and so it's that thing where it's never done with us. The craft is infinitely complicated and beautiful in that way, and with Jake, because it's one thing to imagine what the story is. With documentary, you have the burden of not always, you have to capture something that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
I mean, it's one thing to sit down and have somebody tell you what happened, but when you're going after something that hasn't happened yet, something you can't quite predict, it's like your first question isn't what the story is. Your first question is, what's going on, and where can I be? And if you're not in a position, where and when, if you're not in position at that time, doesn't matter how good that scene, that moment could have been, because you missed it. And so it's that sort of and in the process, you do have, what's the story? Mm-hmm. It's there, yeah. It's not gone away, but if you haven't made it into the room, you've missed it. And so it's that sort of, it's extremely stressful, actually, especially as it's unfolding. And I mean, something like what we filmed with Open Hearts has the added burden of, you don't want to be in the way.
Right, yeah.
There's some, there really is life and death consequences of what's going on.
It becomes very evident in your film. There's no two ways about it.
That's it, and that's how, thank you, Jeff, because that's the work that Gift of Life and Rotary do, and you can see through the film. It matters, and and there's a scene in the film where things, you get to feel that, is what I will say, and you can stream it for the rest of the festival. But I will say is very, very clearly that the work that's happening does matter, and it matters to the little girl who's on that bed, and it definitely matters to her mom.
And it's being channeled in great degree from right here in our small town here. So I think that's, if you didn't need any more emphasis to stream this movie, definitely know that. So what do you hope? You were going to do a 4-minute promo clip, and it turned into a feature. What do you hope that this movie can do above and beyond eyes taking a look at it?
My hope, and I know this is something that Travis hopes as well, I hope that it starts or at least joins an ongoing conversation about philanthropy and how philanthropy is done, and what are the most effective ways to participate in philanthropy, and what systems do we need to kind of rethink to make them more effective, to make them more self-sustaining, and things like that. So yeah, definitely we want to get it in front of as many eyes as possible, and we want to help get the message of the Rotary Club out there, and Gift of Life, and what these organizations are doing. So like that's a big focus for us. But on a much bigger scale, I just hope it participates in the conversation, getting people to be conscious of philanthropy in a different way, and the ability that these organizations have to create these kinds of self-sustaining programs that ultimately we want to do so much that hopefully we don't have to do it anymore.
Well, and that's the thing about these organizations, that you very often think these problems are so big you can't do anything about it. But I look at your efforts, and I know it wasn't just you two. There's a big team behind you, but you have a small group of people, and you've put together a film that can really communicate the story to a large number of people. What is next for this film? Is it are there other film festivals? What else is going to happen with Open Hearts?
We're actually really excited that it is finding its place with a wider audience. It has been just almost 1 month ago has been actually released in the U.S. and Canada through Gravitas Ventures, our partner, and we're really excited for that. And currently kind of figuring out what it there's some other film festivals that we're screening in internationally, in Spain and Sweden next, and we'll see what happens. But for us, we knew at the beginning when we saw that the film had the ability to be more than just a promo video, and that there was something that was, because it was like, the purpose was never to make a 60-minute promo video. That was not why
that's not a thing.
It's not a good thing. It's so, the rubric for us was that we had to tell a story that was going to stand on its own, that was going to mean something to people. Because as much as it can mean something to us, there's a lot of effort that goes behind that. And so we really believe that what we were witness to is something that we can all learn from. And it's not, and the story is not a story of people who have coming to people who don't and say, hey, people who don't have, if you learn to do like me, you will have too, and so let's make you like me. That's not what's happening.
Right.
And that right there, I think, is the big aha. And what you see through Open Hearts is an answer to that. It's a solution. I believe there's so many more solutions that can be created. And I believe that highlighting the fact that we can relate with each other. And when we went to Haiti and we got to see, yes, there is poverty, there is context, there are issues, right? There's political instability. The most stable thing about neighborhoods and the most governmental stable portion of neighborhoods in Port-au-Prince are the warlords, and they're the most stable part of that infrastructure. That should tell you something. And looking at it that way completely changes your perspective. And it's like, but underneath that are people that are amazing. And it's like, and if you can kind of take all of it together, the fact is that we still have this ability, we're all connected whether we want to be or not. And so by connecting and empowering, we're not just, and what I see, the doctors in the film and the nurses in the film and everybody who kind of gives, it's like, the relationship with St. Damien, as a great example, is just that. It's a relationship, and it's not just a heart surgery. You're changing. Dr. Noisette, when we filmed, was in training and has since become. She's the first, and she's currently the only pediatric cardiologist in the country. Now, that has not existed before her. The first Haitian pediatric cardiologist, to be clear what that is, it's not somebody who fixes the heart. That is somebody who has the ability, the skill set to listen to a child's heart and to say, yes, this is what's going on in that heart. The ability to see the problem. That didn't exist. That all had to be imported. Their ability to measure themselves now is much, but now you have a lot longer list of kids. And all of them need help. And so it's like these issues of training the Haitians to be able to do all of this. It takes resources, material, and otherwise. It takes training. And ultimately, that's a long-term goal that we can do in partnership. But in the meanwhile, they still need heart surgery. And so it's this sort of like, it's not clean. It's never going to be, especially when the issues that Haiti kind of deals with are going to continue because they're things I can't fix.
It's not going away.
But we don't, and I think this is going back to the heart of your question, which is what's the point? And for me, the point is like, and my goal is with the film is that people can be moved and inspired by what the efforts in the film indicate, which is there's a different way of relating to each other, and through that, creative possibilities are capable. And I think that people can come up with other great solutions, and I'm so excited to hear about them because the model that they're using is fantastic, and I can't wait for somebody to be inspired by it and create something even like something that says, oh, we should have been doing it that way. That's really cool. You know what I mean?
Well, and this all comes full circle because here we got two local Cleveland guys that show a film at a documentary film festival, meet somebody, another local person that's doing things abroad. You are going to be able to affect other people, not in Haiti, in other places that are in trouble from the work that you did here. So it just all comes full circle, and it's a beautiful testament to what the Sugar and Documentary Film Festival is all about. It's a great testament to filmmakers like you. That's what this film festival is all about. It's about, propping you guys up and giving you the opportunity to do these sorts of things. So.
Well, let me just say on that, we've had the privilege of being here a number of times in this festival, and everybody, yourself included, we've always felt so welcomed, and this has been one of the most amazing experiences to sort of hit repeat on, only because it's like when we screen a film here, your audiences show up and they engage, and the conversations and the quality of interaction. I mean, it's not an accident that a quality conversation came out of one of those screenings, because when a community shows up together, really amazing things happen. And I think that Open Hearts is a result of that, and it's very much out of the care that the Chagrin Documentary Film Festival has garnered, and the Chagrin Falls community. So thank you, Jeff.
Well, thank you, and I think this went well once I got the right name of the film down pat. So thank you for indulging me there, and thank you so much for your efforts, and we look forward to hearing more about Open Hearts and your next project. So thanks for being here.
Thanks so much, Jeff.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
All right.